Uh, um, Place. Uh, uh-huh, uh-huh. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not even sick enough to not be writing. I'm just lazy. Ugh. No, I'm probably sick enough to not be writing. I don't even know if I'm going to do a show tonight, to tell you the truth. I was like passing up freelance work yesterday. I have to be really sick to do that. It wasn't coming out on the live category, but the thingy popped up. Yeah. What? I just started it. Oh. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's see. Maybe do OneNote. I wonder why this is so fucking wobbly. It's been bothering me for a while. I just haven't done shit about it. Yeah, look at this wobbling all over the place. I might just get a different mic stand for this guy, but Lord knows there's so many mic stands and stuff floating around here. Yeah, I'm gonna get something done today. I'm not sure exactly what. I wish there was another story that we could edit and prepare for something. Ugh. Fuck. Ugh. At least I think it's like breaking up in my lungs now, so maybe I won't die. Maybe. It's not a proboscis. It's a microphone. Oh yeah, yeah. I'm dying inside. Maybe to OneNote. Mm. Nothing that coffee would not fix. You would believe that, but that's not the case. Um, so we're gonna bend the Stirs character a little bit because I think we have enough oafs in the story, and in general, like anytime that you're what is it? What was the key? Always like right at the height of that character's intelligence. You know what I mean? Like people generally don't want to read about characters that are stupid. They want to read about characters that make stupid decisions, but they have to understand the logic that led the person to that. No, I just drank a bunch of orange juice yesterday. It's just, believe it or not, coffee and orange juice don't mix well. So I'm gonna wait a little bit. Yeah, you'll get old too, and then you'll have to like think about like how many acids you're ingesting because your internal your enzymes are breaking down and they can't deal with just drinking vinegar and orange juice and coffee and shit all day long. You gotta like pace yourself and add a base. That's why I drink coffee with milk now. It's just the acidity. Mm. All right, so what do we've been like as we're doing the rewrite. Uh, we've been. No, I don't sleep enough to drink coffee all day long. I would love to be able to just continually drink coffee and keep writing through the day, but then I don't sleep. Um, so I just have one coffee in the morning, and that's all I get, and then I'm just lazy the rest of the day. So reliant on that. I really don't want to rename this character, but I have to. I don't like that at all. Prefer to sleep while driving, not screaming in terror like the passengers. Huh. Well, that is one way to go about your life. I just, like wherever I can, I just like to, let Jesus take the wheel as I speed into the front of the World Trade Center. But it's so hard to do that nowadays. They got all these fucking bollards everywhere. You know, no, that's Democrats for you. All right, what do we got here? Um, let's see. All right, so I'm pretty happy with that. These are like our five or so characters. Then we got to get into the keynotes for the rewrite. Do we? So we did fit. Oh my god, I can't even talk. We did fix our master rewrite chart, and I'm pretty happy with this here. Um, let me see. Midday siesta. I can't really do. I do that every Friday at about 4 o'clock. I sleep for about 4 hours before my show, which is not a siesta. It's like just actually getting some sleep in. I think I'm gonna have to call it for tonight. I don't think that I have the stamina to do a show. But oh, we're doing a show that's really funny tonight. On the show, we're doing the Pasta Apocalypse, um, where we're just gonna play reggae music, and everybody's gonna call in and argue for their favorite kind of pasta, like the one pasta that is above all others there. So people are going to be taking the side of linguine and fusilli and gamelli and cannelloni, and I'm going to talk like Mario from Super Mario Brothers the entire time. Yeah, I wonder how. I bet spaghetti is going to be in the top five, but it's not going to be number one, right? And like macaroni is going to be ass end at the bottom just because of people's Kraft Mac experiences. Um, and people are going to try to put in like stupid shit like ravioli, where ravioli is worthless by itself, and lasagna. Yeah, we were looking for all the arcane variety. There's so many weird pastas. So the way it is is that you can only argue for a basic type of pasta. Like if the pasta has two or three modifiers sitting in front of it, you have to go down to the base. Like you can't like they literally the Italians are so crazy. They have words for like right hand spiral pasta and left hand spiral pasta. Like pasta chirality fucking matters. Really, and that is kind of funny though. The fusilli chirality. But they just get to like a Inuit snow level of WAP greasiness. I don't know if I'm allowed to say WAP greasiness on Twitch anymore. If I'm not, just fucking ban me. But I'm a fan of the eye ties myself. There, I think they've added a lot to our culture. I like the Sopranos. I used to be the IT guy for James Gandolfini. I beat that drum all the fucking time, so I can't be racist. Anyhow, but they really do get granular to an absurd level with their pasta, and it's different all over Italy. And but anyhow, yeah, I'm strongly in favor of fusilli. Even though when I make pasta myself, I always just make spaghetti, right? Because I want it to be al dente, and that's the one where you can get it. And that's the one where you can always cook that perfectly. It was a Stratum was like championing angel hair, and I was just like, why? It's so hard to get like a good angel hair. You almost need like a digital timer down to the second, and still it's just slop. But yeah, we're gonna learn a lot about some weird pastas, and I'm excited to do that. So maybe I'll just egg noodles. Egg noodles are a pasta. Yeah, you can absolutely. We're not limiting people to just pasta that's like flour and whatever. You can have eggs in there. You can get kind of weird with it, but not like that vegan pasta where no wheat is harmed and it's just made out of like toenail clippings and dust. No, we're not, and sawdust and stuff. No, we're not. We're not going. It's not going down that way. Egg noodles are pretty good though. Like if you want to get into the exotic category, where you've got like lo mein, which is definitely a pasta, and rice noodles and stuff like that, and all the different Thai types of, oh my god, all the different noodles. You could get in there, but I'm hoping that we will have the key to this being good is everybody just calling in like it's like we're talking about abortion, like it's life and death. I just want people to argue with all their hearts and soul. Wait, what the fuck is this thing? Oh, it's the lid of the mic. Hold on, let me fix that. God, I can't get anything right. Mm, there we go. Yeah, barbacoa and corn country down there. Tortillas. Yeah, you know, there's always pasta. Everybody on the earth has an opinion on pasta, right? I think it's something, even except for like fucking people who are pretending that they're allergic to gluten, and even they have like that crappy stringy gluten-free pasta. Everybody has a deep emotion about pasta, and we're trying to uncork that tonight. So the pasta apocalypse, I've been looking forward to this all week. So hopefully it's good. But probably it won't be because I'm just too sick to do a show, but I'm going to do it anyway. All right, so this is what we got done this week here. And now I have to come to a decision. Do I want to go back and rewrite everything? Like each one of these is like a day of work that I've given myself. Let me see. 1, 2, 3. No. 1. Oh yeah, we should potentially do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, let's see how many weeks we're talking about here. I'm just gonna like plot out. I won't be there for this one. I got to go back to work. Oh well, thank you for dropping in to make me feel better. I'm not. Let me see. I'm less sick than I was yesterday, but also we're at a like harder place where I have to. All right, let's figure out how many days we got to spend on this. All right, so that's probably going to take a whole day just to rewrite the intro chapter and merge these two. Maybe I can do those too. So 1, 2. We can probably do that. Yeah, we can probably do the chapter break as part of that too. 2. Ba 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 ba. 3. Okay. 4 is definitely a day. Okay, that's a good point there. I don't have to do anything there. Oh yeah. 5 is probably a whole day just to do that. Okay, so 6. Okay, cool. So in like a week, I could probably fix book 1. That's just looking in the context of what it should take me to fix that. The LRH show. I'm gonna want this edit and make sure that you read. Oh, it's so nice of you. I'll tell you the truth. Oh, let me see. All right, so let's say 10 days it's going to take to implement the changes that we've just thought into book 1. That's not as hairy as I thought it would be. I thought that, in my mind, I was like, I don't want to get caught into another 6 months of doing this bullshit. Let's see. All right, that's not too bad there. So let's say that 1 for working on all those days. 2 for sure. let's say that this is going to take 5 days to do all this. Let's give another 3 days there because that's a lot of work that we're going to do on. All right, so 5 there. Probably one day just breaking these up into 4 and retooling. 6. 7. Yeah, that's a long. Yeah, it's probably. Honestly, that's going to be 8 there. Just working on that. That's a 2-day project to do that. That's a complete rewrite there. We're up to 10. Condensing is hard. Let's say 11, 12, 16. Let's see. Oh, yeah. And then we got to inject that sense of urgency there. 17. That's 3 days right there just on this Rigel chapter. Maybe it's 2. Let's say that puts us at like 20 days. This is a slow chapter and has no action. 21. Needs an extra edit pass. I agree with that. On 22. This is probably like a 2-day thing. 22, 24, 25. 26. Oh yeah, that's a day and then some. If I just cut it, it's no day at all. But 27, and let's just say the 3 days to do there. All right, so rewriting all that is probably going to take about 30 days. This is closer to what I was thinking about. So now we're up to like 40 days and 40 nights if we just stop right here and try to rewrite. But we'll have a stronger foundation for the later parts. So if I want to start serializing Rapasaurus, this is a good place to start, right? The problem is that Rapasaurus is not really written for a serialization, it just doesn't have like enough cliffhangers into it. So I'll have to write some of those in, and like written in cliffhangers are really they're no bueno. The other problem is like I'm going to encounter burnout trying to do this. So what I would almost like recommend is that I like split this up into rewriting of 3 or 4 different things, but I'm just not getting enough time to do what I want to. All right, let's take a look at. We're not done yet though because we still need to rewrite. Okay. So 40. Let's see. I don't remember what I meant by NW. So 42, let's say. Yeah, Yellowhead is totally crowding. Oh yeah, that's gonna be like 5 days or so. Just getting in there. All right. 42, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49. Let's consolidate with 3, 4, and whatever. Yeah. Oh, I've already tried to do that too. 51. 53 probably. Complete rewrite, and that's where we are. 53 to all right, just so we are looking at like 2 months to just implement the changes that we've done right here. So 2 months without forward progress, but then we would have 3 completed books. So if I want to be smart and do something like put this whole fucking thing on Royal Road and Kindle Vella and just work out like one episodic thing at a time, that is something that I could potentially do. The other part of it is I don't think I can sell fucking Gravid. So I could intersperse this with doing like a thing on Gravid. The main thing is that I don't like that my editing time and my just straight writing time are bleeding into each other. What I what I would like to be able to do is to maybe do some writing first off stream, and then give myself until um, probably give myself like 2 hours every morning to write, and then 2 hours to edit, and then and I'm really like putting together a work day here. 1 hour to do formatting, and potentially to do audiobook reading and so forth. I could easily talk myself into waking up at 4 a.m. every morning and working until like 10 a.m., putting in like a 6 hour work day before I go to work every day, and then dying at age like 32 of sheer fatigue. Oh, that'd be sweet. Oh, just, in the ground, nobody's bothering you, worms for company, just endless nothing. Okay. I think I'm going to go about that and just try serializing these because I don't. How did I find writing, editing the day I saw you here and I had music playing too? It was okay. It wasn't perfect, but it wasn't imperfect. So I guess what I would be doing with Gravit is actually doing like a little bit of a. So Gravit hasn't been proofread. Um, I need to find like a cheap proofreader to work with that just works on spec and then can do chapter by chapter. Um, yeah, I really like need. The problem is like proofreading. They're so expensive when they consider themselves professionals, but their output is not always that great. To tell you the truth, it really just is. You want to find like a person who is intensely obsessive compulsive, right? That's um, more important than like a degree or anything with proofreading. It's just like the personality type. Somebody who I would find completely insufferable in real life, and not to diss you proofreaders and so forth. It's just like I don't encounter these kinds of people because their experience of the world is completely foreign to me. So I don't have friends that are like this, basically, because we would drive each other crazy. So it's like I gotta pay, right? And I don't have that many friends that are editors either. Um, so yeah, I think the music thing is probably pretty good. Bu- 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 Fuck. Oh. By the way, I'm just malingering. I'm just pretending to be sick. Um, yeah, I do. And honestly, I like the idea of just people being able to pop in. The main thing is that Facebook is annoying because it just blocks the stream immediately if you have music on it. And like, um, some people like to watch on the Facebook Live or whatever. Oh, how am I like already out of mana and I just fucking woke up? All right, classical music. No, even the classical music. So here's the fucked up thing about copyright claims. Um, I just use Restream right now, but there are a bunch of places you can do it straight with Streamlabs. Restream is the one that I've used, and they seem pretty decent. What else do we have here? So, completely lost the train of thought there. So I think what would be useful is we did the edit of Three Wolf. I should set up for doing a stream where, I mean, when you're alone, when you do the writing on, what are you talking about? Um, I mean, I don't have to have the music on the stream, right? It's just, there's like dead ambiance on the stream. Um, so yeah, I guess I could have it playing on my headphones and just have my output muted. I wonder if I could, yeah, I could definitely mute the mic in or whatever. What would be kind of interesting is if I rigged up a microphone that was just capturing the sounds of like New York City, like all the honking and the shit that's outside. I wonder like how far I would have to hook up a remote mic to like consistently get like some cool traffic noise and so forth. Um, I mean, that might be worthwhile to just have like some background ambience of music and stuff, and I'm just listening on headphones. And then I could swap between those two microphones, like when I'm trying to talk and so forth. Because it would be nice to have, potentially, I could even have like a hook up like a traffic cam or something like that, just so that there's something in the background, right? So while we have like cool beats to relax and study to, or whatever, you just have something happening in the background. Maybe at the top of this thing right here. If I came up with like some mythology for while I was doing it, like it was just a shot of a parking lot and it's like parking attendant. That's the way that we would do it. I would come up with a lie that I had a job that was you need a job that is very low status. Um, what would be great is if I had like an all night diner where I had just like a webcam feed from it. Those don't exist in Brooklyn anymore, sadly. But if I had some artifice that I worked at the diner. Um, okay, so breaking copyright. Orchestralis, Free Music 109, When I go, no copyright music. Those are 5 sources for free music. However, if you're streaming onto Facebook, no, whether your music is royalty free or not, Warner Music Group and BMI and blah blah blah, they will claim your music, if it is even if it is a copyright free one, and they will just continue to claim the music over and over and over again, even if you're from a royalty free source. They'll just say it's similar to a recording that they have, right? Because classical music doesn't diverge that much. They'll ding you on chord progressions. That's how fucking annoying it is. But also, I'm gonna copy and paste these to myself because I didn't know all of these. I didn't know Orchestralis, but here I'm just gonna spit those into my IRC channel so I can never find it again. Yeah, I didn't know all. People do still use Facebook, and if you're old and want people to just like pop in and be like, "Hey, you still owe me money." If you want those people to arrive on your stream, I don't know anybody. Oh wait, I definitely do owe people. I personally I allow links, but I don't know if they're turned off on some level on fucking Twitch or whatever there. Um, it would be kind of cool to have something going on. Breaking copyright playlists. Yeah, I'm just so sick of the copyright shit, to tell you the truth. It's such a hassle. I just want to have music in my headphones and not give a shit, honestly. All right, cool. Didn't disturb worked. Oh, okay. So these are just YouTube playlists for the most part. Okay. There's also a few sites for like royalty free music. Um, and what was it? There's like Monster Cat or something like that had shit for streamers, but the music's not good. You know, the music that I'd like to listen to, also when I'm writing, is usually around 120 to 160 BPM electronic music. Um, so now let me just copy this shit to a paste bin so that I will have it. Um, but I like this idea too of the conceit that I am working somewhere and here post a text snippet. There we go. Yeah, so much of my shit is saved in IRC Clown. I'm gonna be at a loss if I ever get banned there. There's so much data that's tied into my account. So I'd like to work that. The other thing too is I burn out on songs like very quickly. I've been DJing for 25 years and I can hear a song about 3 times before I can't hear it again for like 2 months. Right? I can't deal with repetition. So a static playlist is almost never it for me. I'm usually doing some kind of radio thing. Like if I could turn the variability on. I used to have Pandora and I just finally stopped having it because they have no way to tweak how many times they'll repeat a song. And I can tell you like exactly like I don't want to hear a song more than 2 or 3 times. Um, I'd love to see something like that in Spotify, by the way, like the ability to, as a user, see the schema that they're using to recommend stuff to you, and then be able to tweak it. Um, it just they're trying to make money off of their recommend algo and charge artists to like, hey, they're trying to do like a kind of payola, right, where they charge artists to get placement in playlists and shit like that, which is it's fine. They're gonna do it. But really, I wish I could. I would like to see a music library service where what they essentially did was they just stripped away all the bullshit. They like let people charge a variable royalty for their songs and so forth. They compiled just a massive music library that fucking everything was in. I think you would have to start off in like a copyright free zone. Like you would have to start this in Russia, essentially. Um, but you just compile just this massive archive of music. Just all the shit that is like platform specific, you just steal it and bundle it into a pirate thing. And then you have to turn like the controls to the recommendation engine over to people. Um, but curious as to the rules AI generated music will have as it matures. It's just going to be a shit show, honestly. I guarantee that. Right now, people are tending towards the composition of a machine can't be can't be copyrighted. And it's similar that one of the cases actually that they'll base a lot of this on is a case where I forget if it was like a chimpanzee or an elephant or something took a camera from a photographer and took a picture with it. And so the photographer copyrighted the picture and it was like a cute thing. And then PETA or some gang of assholes like that took him to court and said that the copyright belongs to the chimp. And they had to actually entertain this notion. And I think ultimately the image was stripped of its copyright because it was said that a human being had to like physically be involved. Copyright is meant to protect the works of humans. I will tell you that in general, I'm not a fan of copyright at all. Like I don't care, right? But I mean, it's easy for me to say because I don't generate money off of the stories that I make for the most part. So they're free anyway. I just have them for free on my site, and I don't give a shit. I know that I will have to work for a living until I'm dead. but but yeah, the idea that like you came up with a song first, or like a melody or something like that first, so that's yours forever, or for 100 years, or whatever, or you made a drawing or whatever. It's just kind of nonsense. And the arguments that it like protects people and blah 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 blah. I don't find them very compelling, to tell you the truth. I think we're past the point where copyright makes sense to be as powerful as it is, and we're past the point where royalties make any kind of sense to me. Um, but if you had it my way, just everybody would just be stealing everything all the time. It obviously couldn't work through my eyes, right? Because I just don't give a shit. If everybody acted the way that I acted, um, everything would be lower quality because people wouldn't be willing to. Okay, so there is a threshold between working on something out of passion, which is what you see me doing every day, and working on something to the point where you are suffering every minute that you're doing it, and you're just finishing it because you need to make some money to buy milk for your wife's son. So I never have to venture into that like painful part of creation where you've been recording for like 4 days and you're suffering every minute and you just got to get it done to make something that you can sell because you got to stay alive, right? I don't get into that territory. I'm very privileged that I have developed a system of bilking IRC users out of their disability money so that I can live off their largesse. Really? Oh, anyhow, so I want to think about and brainstorm a little bit the conceit that you could have, and with where I could like plonk a camera and pretend that I'm there and like put it in the background and just have it be very easy to do whatever. Um, what's near here? There's like a parking lot near here. There's a city park near here. Oh, and that'd be great too, because then I could work my normal job and have written sci-fi fanfic for several years now and profit each time. But when you say profit, um, you have to take the amount of time that you put into working at it, right? And then you have to divide that by the income you could have gotten doing anything else, right? So when we say we profit off of something, we have to like consider the time that it took. And generally, with most books, when you look at what you're earning off of it compared to the hours that you put in, like if we look at Rapasaurus right here, by the time I'm done working on this, I will have easily spent 3 or 4 thousand hours working on it, right? Um, when I do consulting work, I have to bill out at like about 150 an hour to make ends meet, right? I'm not going to get 300 or $400,000 for Rapasaurus, you know? Oh, you're retired and already getting paid? Oh, nice. Oh, that's pretty wild. Man, I got to get into the sci-fi fanfic thing. Yeah, I don't think I ever get to retire. Oh, yeah, maybe I should just start writing erotica and see if I could. Oh my god, it'd be so bad. I like this idea of what's something that's like quaint. It'd be great if it involved animals in some way. Like I said that I worked at a cat cafe or something, and there's just cats running behind on the screen all the time while I'm writing. Um, like it would be cool if I was like a mushroom farmer or something, just dosing everybody, or if there was like a big erotica vampire phantasm cyborg love triangle. Oh my god, yeah, Chuck Tingle retired off of his dumb shit. Oh, he just turned his autistic mania into an empire. Uh, but money ain't a thing. Let me see here. Yeah, I'm going to think on that a little bit because I did for a little bit a running commentary stream on a crack house, and the crack house stream was actually pretty successful and pretty funny. I have some shotgun microphones floating around where I could potentially do something, and I have that big camera that I used for the crack house stream. I'm going to think about it honestly. I think that let me see. I wonder. You know what I should really what I should really do is find a trap house that I could just set up outside of, right, where people are slanging yay all night, and just claim that I am writing in between dealing dope, and just have like the crack house feed, and every so often you see them getting fucking raided by the cops, and yeah. I know, because the nice thing about crack houses is dudes are always hanging out outside. There's always some drama going down at the crack house. The bad part about it is that I have enjoyed reading others' fanfic rather than hardcore cookie cutter edited publications. I like to see the errors and slights. The story is the reward with all the. I mean, you have to remember, Milkness, I am LRH, right? Like, that's who I am, right? And like trying to run away from it. I think my part of my lack of success over my life has been trying to like segment myself away from who I really am. And you just once you get old enough, you're just what, this is who I am. Like I did these things. I think this is funny. I don't care what you think. Yeah. Every author I follow, I've purchased a book work from them as a way to show support. That's cool. Oh, did you get one of mine? Good Lord. Well, I don't know if you follow me or not. But yeah, if you want to get one, I'll tell you which one is decent. Um, so I'm not on board with you there. Um, I think out of respect for the reader, so I understand it's different for people who are like writing fanfic and so forth. But I'm very old school in some ways, and I want to deliver a work where it has been as well edited and proofread and formatted and everything as I possibly can do using my own resources. So I do pay to get everything edited, and ideally I pay to get things proofread and so forth. And like when I do covers, I license the art and everything. Yeah, yeah, I see what you're saying. I mean, it's really more like the way that I would look at it is like the fanfics that you're just reading them in the draft state, right? And for them to be ready for publication, they just need like a couple more passes, right? And so I can totally, some people like listening to like the demos of song more, where you get to hear Bob Dylan working on it in a studio, and somebody's like coughing into the mic. And sometimes some of those takes are so much more raw and so much better than the polished final. You know what I mean? Where somebody like added all the reverb and so forth. So I'm seeing a little of your perspective there, where you like to see the nuts and bolts, and especially like somebody who really likes listening to studio sessions. I know are musicians because they like to see what's going on. Be like that Beatles documentary is super cool for anybody who like plays guitar or drums or whatever. Is great to like watch them like fighting with each other and the drama and like all the little studio hacks that they're doing to try and do stuff. It's super neat to watch what was going on in a time before they had computers and so forth. So like I can 100% see the desire to like see the sausage factory. Um, and I guess my argument would be what I don't want to see is those people never bothering to take the next step and like actually finish editing the book and to come up with something where you can finally put it into a bound printed form where there are as few errors as possible and where somebody has had like the respect for people who are going to read it, where they're like, I'm going to make this as good as I can. So we're talking about two different stages of life. Like you're still like the chrysalysis is forming when you're like at the fanfic level and what I'm seeing on like Royal Road and so forth there, but it needs another pass to turn into the butterfly. And also that's Doors Alive, She Cried on vinyl, not crisp as an MP3, and that makes it unique. Ugh, I used to have so much vinyl, man. It's terrible. But every pop you're hearing is unique to your record. It's like a piece of dust that's in your grooves. And nobody else's. All right. So we'll see. Yeah. Oh, I used to have so much vinyl. And I think I was talking about this on the stream the other day, where just like I have like 10,000 pieces of vinyl. And finally the girl I was dating at the time was like, if I have to move your vinyl one more fucking time, I'm leaving you. And then she did. So now I don't have 10,000 pieces of vinyl. Still have 2-track, 8-cacks, cassette, and reel to reel. Do you have anything that can play your reel to reel? I have some cassettes lying around that I keep meaning to digitize, and I never have. I have like a mixtape a girl made for me when I was like leaving the military. That I'm sure the music is going to be putrid, but I no longer like remember what's on it. Like all my homemade porno and all my like old recordings and stuff. A teak reel to reel player, but I haven't used it in a year or so. I never had to fool around. No, I take that back. I had to work with, I think we had like a Studer 4-inch or whatever reel to reel that I had to work on at a recording studio once. No, I didn't even sell the vinyl. I just left it in some guy's basement when I moved. Right, I just moved again and just left all of it in his basement and told him I would come back for it, and I never came back. Um, I meant to, I just didn't. Right, and it just ultimately I'm happier without the vinyl. It was cool, but it was rough. Yeah, um, and yeah, it's just like I don't know what else I thought about that. Old Fireside Theater recording I copied down to cassette. I remember that back in the day, where you'd like wait up all night trying to hear this one song, and you're like praying that the DJ doesn't step on it. And you like hit record and fucking like the old like 80s fucking tape decks with overdub and so forth, and you just try to put together a tape that has like all your favorites recorded off of the radio. Yeah, and back in the day, like we would actually make mixtapes and stuff. Um, yeah, I was never close enough to like hear Wolfman Jack or whatever. There is a science fiction broadcast called The Hour of the Wolf that's out of WBAI in New York that I've been on there. I know the guy that runs it, and he has interviewed Isaac Asimov, Ray Bradbury, Robert Silverberg, He's interviewed everybody. Um, just like Octavia Butler and everybody has gone to WBAI. He does a program called The Hour of the Wolf. They do it at 3 a.m. and is just talking to this old dude who is very gregarious. He goes to a lot of the same conventions as I do. I think I don't know if he's still doing it. He's a very old guy at this point, and his health is not 1,000%. Uh, X-1 sci-fi on the radio. Yeah, I mean, that's my background. Love the radio. I thought for a little bit I was thought about like writing some radio dramas and stuff, but yeah. So I think my interview on there is on my YouTube channel, and I don't want to name drop him here. Yeah, my interview there is on there. His interviews with Isaac Asimov and Bradbury and stuff. I don't know how digitized his archives are, um, but he's a cool dude. Very interesting cat. Fun to have at conventions. Full of drama and stuff too. Knows like all the gossip about ancient science fiction writers and stuff. But I haven't hung out with other people since the pandemic. Like at the end of the pandemic, I just stopped going to conventions and I severed all the stuff. Like to hear the Octavia Butler. I think he's got others on there too. He's probably got like Ursula Le Guin. What year I had your YT open in a separate tab? I would go like all the way back on ZYZ, and then it's interview Hour of the Wolf. I think you could search where I talk about Xanon Inc., which was my first novel, which was not good, but it was a start. And I might talk about Survival Mode on there too. I might have 2 interviews that are 6 years ago since I've been on there. Oh, he's still alive, I think, but he's very old at this point. That's one of those guys where I wish he would be alive forever. Where I'm just like, all right, the world needs that person in it for an eternity, right? He's just an archetype. But yeah, I'm not gonna name him on the stream here because I don't want people to bother him. So if you want to put the effort in to find it, you can. But yeah, it's just like an interview I did there. Let's see. Yeah, I thought a little bit about. I'd kind of like to get into doing a science fiction podcast where I interview authors, right? But I'm very lazy about scheduling to do these interviews, and also I'm kind of a cunt when it comes to reading other people's fiction. Like I have very high standards, and if I don't like somebody's book, I don't want to talk about it. So that's tough. I think you need to have more openness than I have there. I have a good novel about werewolves, Bolsheviks, and Nazis, and then she asserts that it is good, called Hour of the Wolf. Yeah, it's an interesting concept for a show, and it's weird to go down there at 3 a.m. and do the recording, right? It's on Atlantic Avenue. So WBAI famously was involved in a trial because they were the radio station where George Carlin initially did his seven dirty words you can't say on whatever. I don't think 7 words you can't say. So he did it, and then he got into a big obscenity trial, and the radio station, which I think is like public radio station, they fought it all the way to the Supreme Court, and they won. It was dope. But it was like one of the first like really big obscenity trials, and so that's their claim to fame. Like any other radio station, I think they got bought by somebody, and there was some drama. I don't know where they're at right now. I think they got bought by somebody. Because it's hard to run public radio that doesn't make money. Like especially they're at the behest of advertisers and donations and stuff. And then I think it got bought by somebody, and they wanted to corporatize it, and then people fought back. It's a whole. I didn't follow it very closely. FCC used to be vicious, but they're far tamer in this century. We need to fucking get rid of them. Like, I should just be able to broadcast whatever I want. They actually, you say that they're far tamer in this century. But one, there's less people doing it. They just upped their fines for illegal transmissions, which means a lot to me, to where they can charge you $1 million per instance. That's fucked up, right? They were already absurd, but now it's like we used to put my show out on pirate shortwave, and now the idea that the FCC will roll through and be like, $1 million, please, like just for bouncing a signal off of the fucking stratosphere. That's absurd. They want to lay claim to the airwaves. Fuck them. Fuck them. I should put out like some anti-FCC shirts. Still remember the pirate radio broadcast late at night, good times. Yeah, like that's what I've done my entire life. I've been on pirate radio for 25 years, since like 1997. 26, I guess now. I don't remember when I started. So yeah, I'm old. I'm older than I look. But yeah, I do want to like put out some anti FCC shirts. I'll make that this morning. All right, so I like the idea of having some kind of background to the writing stream, but I do also like the size and scope of this giant thing. I might have to make the writing smaller, but yeah, I just want to have something that happens in the background, like a atmospheric feed or something. Oh yeah, atmosphere was right for the signal to skip, and nerds doing like moon bounces and stuff. We were hitting Ukraine for a little bit on my show. Our transmitter was all the way in all the way in I'll say Seattle, right? Yeah. Oh yeah, you still see the writing. I mean, it's not interesting if you can't see like the cursor and so forth. I could potentially green screen the writing and turn it from black to white, but and just have it appearing over the background. But it'd be harder to read. I'll do some testing, but I like that idea. And then just doing the editing or whatever after that. I don't think it's I don't want to do the audiobook recording on stream just because it's such a pain in the ass. You have to go back so many times. It's not good. All right, so I feel okay with that. I'll think a little bit about what we're going to do there. So I think this is about a 60-day rewrite if we want to go back and start over. Um, One guy ran one out of his trunk pumping 1 kilowatt linear. some like pump up the volume type shit there. I was looking at 2 kilowatt transmitters a little while back. Now you can get those out of China. I think you can get 2 kilowatts for fuck. What was I looking at? It was low. It was maybe like $3,000 to $5,000 for a 2 kilowatt transmitter, and then you spend like another $500 or $600 on antennas and stuff. Eventually, my game plan is to build like a transmitter van and to just have like a rack dual PLL transmitter and put together like a tripod transmitter. I'm gonna need a separate alternator. No, you need a generator. Yeah, you can't just fucking. But the like those little quiet Honda generators are great, and they've come like a long way on like USB. Hold on, what is it? I'm not gonna pick it up and pull it over here, but like I essentially like have lithium battery packs where I can do an entire 2 hour set running. I have some Bose L16 line arrays. I can do like a 4 hour DJ set just off of a big lithium ion battery pack the size of like a small cooler. So they're really coming a long way on those big ass lithium batteries. And the nice thing is that they're silent. Why is it allowed? What is the justification for making pirate radio illegal? And like I mentioned, $1 million fine. Why is that allowed to happen? Well, it's meant to happen through the miracle of taxation. And this is how governments work, essentially. They take something that should be free, being alive, breathing air, sunlight, ground, right? They take something and then they assert that they have control over it. And then they point guns at you and charge you money for it. This is like essentially how a government at its most granular level works. Everything that they do is backed with guns. So in this case, people started complaining like, hey, that guy with the bigger transmitter is on the same frequency as me and he's overriding me, right? And then they say, what if I pay some money to you? Will you tell him that he can't transmit on my frequency? Because the bandwidth is like a limited resource, right? Only so many signals can go over the air at one time. So they had this brilliant idea. I was like, okay, we'll issue licenses to people, and you can only broadcast on 89.1 FM, right? Or at 666 AM or whatever. So they issued licenses, and like some of this is very abridged, and some of it is a little incorrect. So wiki it if you want to know the actual truth. They issued licenses to this whole thing, and then people would, in defiance of those licenses, continue to broadcast, right? Because we're Americans, we don't give a shit. And so they had to stop people. Like if you pay $10,000 a year for a license to broadcast on 89.1 FM. WJRK, the jerk. Do the cool. Oh, anyhow. Um, it's like Tourette's almost. So say WJRK pays the FCC $10,000 for a license, and then Rastaman Reggaeton is blasting dancehall on his frequency and is cutting into his signal. He's going to be like, "Hey FCC, what the fuck am I paying you for?" It's a protection racket. Um, and so the thing is that it's easy to find any radio signal. You just triangulate it, right? You just say, okay, the signal's strong here, but weak here, so let's move towards it. Generally, you can just get in your car and drive towards a signal, and you'll just find the fucking transmitter. This is FM, right? It's a little different now because everything is, all those bands are digital now, and it's a whole other thing. And in any case, so that's why they did it. And the other part of it too is they make some frequencies that like only the military can use. There are frequencies that only air traffic control can use, right? So you can see why there's a need for some of these things. Like there are police only frequencies and so forth. And it had to do with like trying to be the steward of a resource that was finite that a lot of people had to share. So you can see where it would be chaos if that didn't happen, right? And when we're saying like fuck the FCC and I want to just program and stuff, we're being antisocial, right? We're saying like the rules don't apply to me. I just want to do something because it's cool, right? So, and it is cool, right? It's more important to me that you have like a crazy radio host saying wacky shit about the government on a bandwidth than that, you know, like an ambulance can get its call through for help. No, we just want to do something illegal to feel alive. Ultimately, that's the whole genesis of pirate radio. We know it's wrong. We don't care. You just want to feel alive, and it's a harmless law to break for the most part. It's like graffiti, right? Like graffiti is wrong, but blank walls are boring. You know. Anyhow, the circle of life. This is a very American urge. It's a very Australian and Kiwi urge too. The mantra of every pirate: only wrong if you're caught. Exactly. That fine is enormous, right? And it's just, you know, the people who like pay for these frequencies are powerful. You know, they're making money, and they don't want Johnny Transmitter. And like now, the Chinese transmitter. Oh yes, hello, Pauline Lee. I forget what we were talking about the other day. We're not making any editing progress whatsoever. What I'm doing right now is I'm trying to come up with a. Let's do a new blank thing. Let's do a new game plan, right? So this is something where we can all, let's take inspector, let's take this off. All right, let me make a game plan. All right, so all right, so question one. Rapasaurus, to rewrite books 1 through 3 is going to take me about 60 days to just implement some of the changes that we were talking about on stream and just try. Why don't you fucking. There we go. Writing AI, my book. Oh, yeah, I think I never found out what your book was. I'm curious. It's also like a good marketing tactic not to tell people and just have them wonder about it. So, anyhow. So I think to rewrite books 1 through 3 using like what we learned in this whole thing would take about 60 days. Is it worth sinking 2 months to improve the foundation, or should I just venture ahead and try to rewrite the next 3 books without fixing the shit before? I'm leaning towards 1 through 3. And again, like there's so many rewrites, but I can just see big structural problem. I need to market myself more. Well, I'm creating a new I'm going to create a new Discord for artists and so forth. I'm usually afraid of being too boastful and egotistical, so I keep stuff to myself. That's a tough one. It really is, because marketing is so fucking insufferable, and I hate advertising. And it like it extends to yourself. You feel like the work should just stand on its own. People should see it, and then word of mouth, and like people start liking it, right? That doesn't fucking happen. So you have to either accept that you're not good enough for that to happen on its own, or you have to join like the crowds of seagulls, like me. Yeah, yeah. Make a lot more if I put myself. I'm there. I don't like marketing. I don't like that. I would love to live in a world that didn't have any advertising whatsoever. Um, but it's not the world that we live in. All right. Let me see. I'm leaning towards rewriting this book because we've sunk so much time into it. There's always the question, like, this book is like a big lumbering iceberg, and is it time to just jump off and sink? Um, but I'm okay with spending 60 days to implement what's going on. So that's like me putting the summer into that. So next, serialization. I have 3 books that could potentially be serialized. Gravid. I have Lemon Maybe. And I have Rapasaurus. Books 1 through 3. Each of those books is from 230,000. What's Rapasaurus at right now? I think it's only 200,000. Rapasaurus is 216,000. Okay. So Rapasaurus is 216,000. 140K. Books 1 through 3. Okay. The nice thing about all these is because I try to stick to like those short pat chapters. The chapters are good for serialization. So in terms of how good each one is, the ranking is like Lemon Maybe is really good. Lemon Maybe is good enough to, in my mind, win like a Hugo or a Nebula. I think it's that good. I wouldn't take a finished book and publish it serialized on Royal Road. You definitely want to go into the project with your story built for web serialing, short chapters, cliffhangers, and so forth. It's all these are a little written like that, but all the chapters are pretty short. I really do shoot for like 7 or 8 pages per chapter. And the other part of it, yeah. So Lemon Maybe has that increasing tension vibe that we were looking for Rapasaurus. You can look at the entire edit of Lemon Maybe as I was working on it for the entire time, and where we weren't using like that structural mechanic or whatever, it has that because we sat down and edited it and took out like all the bullshit. You can look at how it was at the start of that edit, which is, I think that was like 100 and some odd days that we spent editing that book, maybe like 80 or 90 days, and see where it began. And I think that it does have like enough increasing tension to where it's there. You can, of course, but you definitely want to go into the project with your story built for web serialing. Both Lemon Maybe and Gravid. So this is a spot where you might have some input. So I have a book called Gravid, Pauline Lee, where Gravid is a book about a young woman whose father is killed, grappling with like very deep depression. And it has it's essentially like a romance. It has science fiction aspects of it because like a lot of what is used to treat her depression is a kind of unwilling telepathy throughout the book. The book is Pattern Enough of Dying Inside by Robert Silverberg and other books where characters can essentially read each other's minds. So this puts it in the wheelhouse of fan fiction more than it would put it into literary fiction, right? But it's written more like literary fiction than fan fiction, right? I think the target market for it is going to be young women, ages I want to say 13 to like 25. Um, and it's a very sad book, and it's about sort of teenage years where you don't feel like you fit in anywhere, and so forth. And it has a lot to do with her going to therapy and using like cognitive behavioral techniques to overcome her depression and to deal with like a pretty bad sleeping disorder. Um, so, so that's a sad book. Can you make a web serial or a serialized fiction that is just like a sad book? I would say is like things that are similar to are like Never Let Me Go and Kemas. Kemas. Yeah, like so anyhow, so that's one where I don't think that I can publish it because it's long, right? We're talking it's an 800-page book and is long and is dark, but there is light at the end of the tunnel there, and hopefully the character is relatively approachable and so forth. Um, it does have like a fair number of cliffhangers built into it to hopefully pull the story forward. So I don't know how wise it would be. Of course, in my mind, there's always the like, what if I could get this published or like get an agent to take a bite at it or whatever, and potentially just go through a major house or something. But so far, I haven't been super successful with that, and it's an exhausting fucking process. And I have the infrastructure to do most of what I would need to myself. So that's one where I'm thinking heavily about serializing it. Um, Lemon maybe because it's a comic book story. Essentially, it's like about superheroes and so forth. Is not getting a lot of attention from agents and so forth either. Even though I think it's good enough. Like I think it's is really really good. So, and it does have like that cliffhanger. It's written in like a comic book thing, so it would potentially be a good one for this. Um, I will tell you, and then Rapasaurus, I think it's kind of it is a dungeon delver, and we're working to like put in some of the serialization type stuff, and potentially I could, as I'm doing this rewrite, be formatting each of these chapters and proofreading and re-editing and stuff like that. I could be formatting it more towards here, because as we look towards this master rewrite, the episodic thing kind of works here a little bit. And I'll tell you that personally, I don't like I went and saw the Demon Slayer or whatever. They were playing Demon Slayer at the Draft House. So I went over there and saw it, and it had been a long time since I had been seen like any serialized anime or anything like that, and it just became so annoying. The recap at the beginning of every fucking episode, the obvious setups for other stuff like that. It was just really, it was too much for me to take on. Um, so yeah, and I'd like to see um, serialized fiction where it is it's like a little less obvious what they're doing, and then like how they're manipulative, and like how the cliffhangers are formatted and so forth. But the reason those things are there are because they work. They keep people reading. They keep people wondering. Um, and as we're doing the rewrite, it's not too difficult to um, it's not too difficult to increase our tension and to have like the plotting that we want to have overall. I think we have the bones of what could do it there. I'm just trying to talk myself into this. I know that I want to do all these three things. Um, so yes, I think it's just a question of how wise this is. And I got to tell you, the other shit that I'm not doing is not working here. Um, I like I like this idea, kind of, but I need to like do more research on Royal Road. I just found out about this when somebody said it the other day, right? And so the books there have like a very peculiar aesthetic, and I may be too snobby and insufferable to like fit in there. I think most of the people who are writing there are much younger than me. Let's take a look at their site, right? So the home of web fiction, right here, best place for authors. and it shows what's popular there. And like most of this it's like here. Let's read best rated. Let's see what some of the best rated stuff is here. We got Mother of Learning. Let's look at their cover. Nobody 103. Writing as Domagoj Kermiak, Mother of Learning. Zorian is a teenage mage of humble birth and slightly above average skill, attending his third year of education at Sioria's Magic Academy. He is a driven and irritable young man, consumed by a desire to ensure his own future and free himself of the influence of his family, who he resents for, whoa. Like, I'm done. I'm already done with this. And so here's his AI-generated Harry Potter cover and his Photoshop template. Let's see. How many? He has A Matter of Faith 4 years ago. Sorry. All right, let's take a look at. So this is very, very popular. 14 million people have viewed this, right? Let's take a look at The Bitter Truth, Chapter 3. Morning. How many words is this? This is long. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, he writes break for his breaks. 5, 6, 7, 8. It's about a 12-page chapter right there. What are we? Okay, so the tropes that he's working with are like the high school trope. Is okay. All right, so this is Mother of Learning. Let's take a look at. Okay, so here is a lit RPG thing. Ryan Quicksave Romano is an eccentric adventurer with a strange power. He can create a save point in time and redo his life wherever he dies. Arriving in New Rome, the glitzy capital of sin of a rebuilding Europe. Oh my God. Okay, so he's doing Groundhog Day with quick save. So stupid. Oh, and then horror is popular here. Okay, so these two guys. Oh, okay, they're not by number of views. Cyberpunk, Magical Girl, Gunslinger, a girl with rabbit ears. Beware of Chicken. Portal Fantasy into 4. Yeah, lit RPGs are. That's one spot where I could sell Rapasaurus as potentially a lit RPG. Yeah, it's a very particular audience. These are desperate nerds, right? I was a desperate nerd once. Yeah, most of these people are going to be very young for the most part. I don't know if I would succeed here. In fact, it's fair to say that I would fail utterly at trying to attract an audience here. But I might get a little bit of an audience. I don't really have anything to lose. Need to submit a bit to the format, but I don't. No, I don't. I'm very like what is there is what's going to be there. Like, yeah, I'm not gonna. There's no harm in putting it there, and potentially putting it on Vela, and maybe trying like one or what's the other fucking serialization site? All right, what are the other ones? 3 serialized fiction. Wattpad. So I tried Wattpad. Radish, I haven't really tried. Oh no, you got to submit in advance to them. And Vela, right there. You think they would love the Rapasaurus? All right. Yeah, I think Rapasaurus. I think of the stuff that I've got, all 3 of those could fit in. It's a question of like having the right keywords there, right? Is really a question of seeing what you're trying to. I wonder if I could get into Radish. Curated. Blah 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 blah. The advantage of RR. So if you market it right, you could maybe make it work there. All right. Because what I would ultimately like to get into is to just have an engine going, right? Um, where like I can slam these three things out, potentially do it where like we try to edit a chapter, maybe record the audiobook part of it for the same day, slam it onto like YouTube, slam it onto like some of these serialization sites and so forth, and then at the end of it, potentially run like a Kickstarter or some kind of crowdfunding with the people that you got there to do like a really nice leather bound or some kind of thing there. Do like a really nice desirable limited run of like a high quality print. Like if I could get to the point where at the end of every serialization or whatever, I could put out a limited run of hardback bound books. Um, Market it right. Don't be yourself. No, you're stuck with yourself. Let me see. Yeah, I wonder. Are there any content restrictions on Royal Road? Like you can't have fucking or something? All right, let me see. Gore, profanity, traumatizing comments. Okay, seems like I can get away with a lot there. All donations go through PayPal. Oh, what did I just fucking click? Their own Patreon. Oh, Royal Road takes no part in donations. This is not too bad at all. So if I were smart, what I would do initially, um, here's the right way to potentially do it. So I want to potentially break into this. Um, if I were smart, I would design like an appealing cover that hits this target demo, which is um, which is a shame because the cover that I want to use for Rapasaurus is a text treatment. Um, the cover that I wanted to use for Gravid is something different. All right, I'll work a little bit on that. So the smart thing for me to do would be to go through here and find like a few different authors that I like, if that's possible, right? And reach out to them and be like, hey, I'm thinking about going on here. Um, it's a shame that I don't have any. All right, that's it. I'm just gonna go through, search through this until I find somebody that's good, and then I'm gonna offer to interview them, and just start doing some interviews with these people, and find out what their secret for success on this thing is, and find out what they're into. Right. So I'll just scan on there for a bit. There have to be some good people on the site. There are millions of people reading and thousands of stories. So let me just find out what people are doing that's good. Talk with those people, and maybe segue that into putting some of my shit on there. All right. So that's good. All right. So game plan here. All right. Is Pauline on there? Could you not pick her brain now? Well, she's already trying to give me info on here, you know. All right, so that's a little bit of work. But before getting into like one of these markets, I'm gonna do some market research and see like what's actually working well there, what people are looking for, what kind of covers are picking up, and how they initially draw people in and do whatever. The product that I'm trying to sell is not a perfect fit for Royal Road. Certainly, it hasn't worked before on Wattpad, but I didn't do this baseline research there. Um, and definitely like one of my personal abilities is interviewing and schmoozing and that kind of thing. So you need to work a little bit about that. Um, because I'll tell you, one of the things that I've found is attending science fiction conventions for the most part. There are writers there that are my kind of people. Um, but oh, what do you have to be sorry about? Shit, man, you're free to suggest whatever you want. It's a free country. But the organizers and like the general vibe, those are definitely not my people. I like have to. I can't say a fucking thing when I go to these conventions. You know, I just have to grin and bear it for a lot of those. But I know that there are a lot of writers, and you can see it in the faces of the other writers too, that where I like their work and so forth. They're just like, mm-hmm, and just sitting and listening to. There's a lot of bullshit going on at conventions, to tell you the truth. But there are also a lot of people who are much smarter than me that are much more savvy with business and so forth. There. Okay, so search these sites for. Let's see. Mailing, blah blah. Okay, so I got to do that. My current like setup for like my landing page and so forth needs a ton of work. Let's see. I should probably port over to. All right, so that's there. All right. Let's make that another step there. Set up the money flow. Boom. All right, so yeah. If you shot you a link that could prove hint, where did you shoot me this link from? I think he's yeah. I did not receive it. Depending on where you, if you shot it on Twitch, I have to log into another computer to try and find it. But if you just say the name of the guide or whatever, I'll just search for it and take a look at it. Yeah, that could be super useful. Um, yeah, that is a potential venue. I can maybe do something there. Individual, social, blah 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 blah. All right. All right. So we I tried doing some Instagram reels for a little bit. Basically, it just gives a interview of how RR works, and you should write to the market. Okay, running your story like the business it is. Make a concerted effort to. Let's see, how long is this? Okay. The ABC of web novels is always be cliffing. If the readers complain, that means you're already on the right track. Ugh. Stay in the middle lane. Don't try to invent new genres or write in unpopular ones. Yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing the always be cliffing. A good web novel has to be addictive, where the readers keep wanting to come back day after day to read to what your main character is up to next. No. Let's see. And then leave yourself somewhere to grow. And he says some might balk at this, and he's right. Um, okay, cool. Yeah, I'll take a gander at this. Um, yeah, he's probably giving good advice there, but immediately. So the key there is what I'm describing as a dungeon crawler. You would probably mark it as a lit RPG. Let's see what the characteristics. Characteristics of lit RPG. Protagonist who is from outside the world of the game. The setting is usually a game. Okay. Blah 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 blah. Okay, yeah, I can't fix it. I have projects to make money and projects for passion, and that's how I keep myself sane. I do not need to make money because because I work 3 jobs. So, uh, uh, okay. So this is the characteristic of this is important right here. Game UI elements, which you can dispense with, damage rolls and stuff like that. Outer World, Chaos Siege, Dungeon Lords, Quest becoming a major example of it. The lure of the lure of lit. This is a really good thing. So it was deleted by the user. I think the main lure of lit RPG is the idea of being in a fantasy sci-fi world that has a quantifiable way to get stronger and progress. So this is like one of the big lures of Dungeons and Dragons in general. So Dungeons and Dragons is popular with young people um, who don't have an ability to gain social status. They don't have an ability to become more powerful. They're at a point in their lives where they're very limited, right? You can't drive a car because you don't have a license, right? You can't get a girl because you don't have a car. You can't get pussy because all of the above, right? And so you can't do X. You can't just walk down every hall in the school because the football team will beat you up or whatever. And so the idea of just giving somebody a ton of power to them doesn't make sense because it's so foreign from their experience. They're at a low social strata. But the idea that they could incrementally, through doing something, become stronger, um, become more powerful, and so forth, has a lot of appeal, right? And that's definitely a thread in Rapasaurus that we could consider. Um, we could really work off of the character El Shala, where she starts off just kind of lazy and unfocused and so forth. She gets stronger throughout the course of the story. Rigel gets incredibly stronger than he was throughout the course of the story. Stirs levels up a little bit. Even Yellow Hat casts off some. All the characters have an arc where they're growing stronger, and we could potentially focus on that. All right, so this is a good point right there. That makes a lot of sense to me, and it's something that I can potentially go there. All right, so blah 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 blah. No, it's not going to fit in. I prefer Rigel. Let me see. Well, I don't have to have one MC, right? Like it's not written. It's not a single protagonist story. So what you have there too is like the popular stuff on Royal Road that I'm seeing so far, and I'm pulling from like a limited set of data and so forth, is self-inserting wish fulfillment stuff, right? Now there are examples of self-inserting wish fulfillment stories that are incredibly popular that are within the traditional realm of fantasy. Um, let's see. Fish is the once and future solver of the Rapasaurus. That's kind of how it's set up there. Rapasaurus serialization. Um, so I don't like. I do not like at all wish fulfillment fantasy. Like I really roll my eyes at Name of the Wind, which is a good book. It's well written in some ways, and it has like some serious fucking departures from what I would consider good writing. The ending of book one, the whole jaunt into the Fey world of sex in book two, the fact that he didn't write book three. But that's a good example. Harry Potter also wish fulfillment, leveling up, high school narratives, and so forth. Let's see, there are a lot of just like the whole Wheel of Time thing is a similar type thing. So okay, so that's something that I can add in with very little difficulty, right? Because the characters are already struggling at the beginning, and there is a power gradient that's extant there. Rigel begins as a literal whipping boy for Herkimer Half King. He starts at the very bottom of their social strata, and may eventually like rise to the top right there. Um, so it can't be that kind of. It can't. shoot for like the kind of wish fulfillment Kvoth type thing because I don't write that way. I don't like that kind of thing. But it is one of the hooks that's effective here. Okay, so is okay. Okay. So we can essentially like while writing a book that's hopefully good, we can try to incorporate some of these elements. Because keep in mind, like Rapasaurus is an extraction from a game. It comes from like those choose your own adventure fighting fantasy type things, and so like at its core, it has like that gamey mechanic. So lit RPGs seems like the foundation of the genre is not taken seriously. By the way, so there is a spot for potentially and that's not meant to like diss people. It's just like from a publishing standpoint. I think the most successful one of those that I know of is like Dungeon Crawler Carl. They're doing very well on Amazon, but I don't believe that he had like a major publisher or anything there. And I couldn't read through it. I just rolled my eyes when I took a gander at it. So a focus on the power arc of characters showing the rags to Rapasaurus arc. Attractive to Spurgs is going to be a structure and an understanding of how the characters can level up because they want to self-insert and level up along with those characters. Let me see. Oh yeah. I'm not going. I'm not going full retard on this in any kind of way. What I'm looking at here is how elements of my story that are extant can be brought. Really, like what you're talking about here is a difference between one or two sentences buried in about five different chapters. That could make this more along those lines. And the idea that you have to like bombard your readers with cliffhangers, maybe you have to do that, but I'm not going to do that. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, I want to have a book that I actually want to read. I don't want to have things that I consider annoying or trite or cliche in there. So I guess the key here is to take what we think, and we're not writing for just this one market, right? They're big, but at the simultaneously, I'm going to try to write something that is not tailored to each of these individual markets, but that can pull in some of the aspects that will draw readers from each of those markets. All right, that's not too bad. All right. I want to see if Vela has exclusivity. And at the end of it, too, I'll bundle this and sell it as like a full book. And maybe strip out some of the horseshit, too. That's not too bad. I do like the serialization. So one of the things that I've been thinking about that I would like to make a deal is what do you have on in the background when you're doing an audiobook and you're publishing them on YouTube. So with Zeros, we tried doing like a bunch of space shit. People didn't like that. One of the things that I am thinking about that could be kind of interesting is essentially just having like closed captioning on the video, but that's doing it in like a more interactive way, right? You do like the slow crawl up the screen or whatever, but certain words are highlighted, right? Certain words appear larger in the whole thing. You can really like if you're doing it like a chapter at a time and like breaking it down to that granular level, you could potentially find a way to display scrolling typography. And I'm not talking about like you have like an animation of a quill like writing out the whole thing, though that would be interesting. Really, it would be kind of fun. It'd actually be kind of what would be kind of dope, to tell you the truth. And this is something I can't afford. Is if you had a calligrapher just like writing out the whole thing like kind of like almost ASMR, like where everything is perfect, and they just have like a big scrolling thing, and they're slowly like writing. Oh wow, fuck! I wonder how hard that would be to set up there, right? Where you just have like a big reel of paper, right? You got an overhead camera, and you have a hand writing out the story in like a very, oh my god, oh that'd be fucking great. You would need to do it with a woman, right? You would need to do it with like a small, attractive woman, and have everything be. Oh my god, that's money right there. Fuck. All right, I got to start dating a calligrapher. Yeah. Oh my god, that's money in the fucking bank. All right, hold on. All right. What's that going to cost me? That is going to cost me about $100 an episode. Date. Oh, yeah. Traditionally, that's been how I acquire specialized skills that I can't afford on my own, like editing. I just date a woman who is an editor. Like yeah, for a while when I was like, man, I got to figure out how marketing works. I tried to date women who were marketers. Oh, yeah, I'm a prostitute. Anyhow, I love that idea though, of just like having the big roll of like cream colored paper, right? Uh, so no, the other part of it too is like, yeah, you could generate that with AI. But so what? It's boring with AI. Um, Having like the actual human being doing it there turns it from um, from a just like a boring visualization to like almost a work of art, right? Like, and if you like, honestly, I just have to have a woman with big tits doing that. She doesn't even have to be good at calligraphy, right? I have the shot of and I have, oh my god, I have the fucking cameras and lighting and everything to make that happen right here. I can rig together that roll of paper. Oh, oh, that's wild. Yeah, I could motorize the entire thing. I could not only motorize it, but I could hook it up to a pedal, right, like a sewing machine, so that she could write a line and then roll up the. Oh my god, that's my fucking that's money right there. I can finance that. Oh, fuck me. That's great. So for a while, I was trying to do with Lemon maybe a hard copy of the Physis chapters in scrolls, right? These huge fucking scrolls of the entire chapter, and I'm just gonna wallpaper my house with them. Oh man, that's there's no way that I can get that to happen for less than $100 an episode, right? So that's gonna put a damper on it. I need to, if that's likable, like because that's what I want. And I'll work on doing the narration so it's like very slow and mellifluous, right? You just have take some of like the best because I like many people like all those videos of Japanese people doing shit where they're very they don't talk, right? Where everything is like very slow and rolling and cozy and relaxing. Yeah, like Japanese ASMR aesthetic where you just show Japanese people being autistic. Um, I've got to also stop calling everything autistic. It's a very IRC mechanism, but and now I'm getting into a realm where like there are real people with autism who will get their feels hurt. They don't understand how we be on that IRC. Oh, anyhow, no, I like this fucking idea a lot. Um, yeah, like especially the like interviewing cute Japanese girls to make it happen. Uh, that's a that's a decent idea right there. Yeah, you could totally make it fucking happen. Um, and then the focus is a little less on the nib scratching and so forth. We'll have the and like the like spatters of ink and so forth. And then there you have her, like you put together, so she would essentially need to have like a teleprompter hooked up to be like writing this whole thing, or just like a iPad or something like scrolling alongside. You could have, I wonder if I could rig the scroll advance to, you would just both have like the motorized. Um, oh, but if we're doing it like ASMR, I'd have to do it in a way that's very quiet. Yeah, you would want to have like the advance on both the teleprompter and the paper be like linked there. The other part of it too is I would want to have our advance potentially be like slow and continuous, and then that means that I've got like the writing and like the like backdrop and so forth. All right, fuck, that's a project right there. That's this is literally I'm talking about doing like just 10 episodes of something. I'm looking at sinking like 2 or 3 grand to make that happen. How popular would that be though? Oh, no, I like it a lot. I should do that with fucking Lemon maybe. Why, why fuck around with something that's not as good? Ooh. All right. Yeah, I like that idea right there. No, I already do that. Like iPad teleprompter. The where you run into like the difficulty is like wanting to like rig it up to like a silent motor that's driving the and silent motor is a it's a dumb thing to say because there's no such thing as a silent motor, but a quiet motor. So you just want to have one pedal that's controlling both simultaneously. Generally, mm, so teleprompters don't operate on a on expression pedal type thing where they just do like in advance for as long as you hold down the button. It's not one where you have the ability to modulate like how fast the thing is scrolling by increasing less or more pressure or whatever. And sewing machines might be the same. Let me see. Da, 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 da. All right. Well, let's find out how expensive calligraphy people are. The fucked up the problem is like I could spend like 3 months learning to do calligraphy myself and do it all on my own, but I'm not an attractive woman. I just uh, by so like all I would attract is like gays with low standards. So that's a bummer. Um, but also, if you think about the fact we're like 75% of readers, maybe I need a hot guy to fucking do this, or I don't. It just I need some fucking piece of meat in here, to shill this nonsense. Oh, that's so complicated to make that all work out. But I do have, I think, the tools to make it happen. You would potentially do your filming in how long would it take to like write out a chapter like that longhand? So, let's see. Calligraphy, word premiers, handwriting speeds, 5 words per minute at the first grade. Mm-hmm. See, so about 30 words a minute. Well, you start you no, the way that you do this, right, is you show look here. This is you show essentially the same thing. Like where I'm the hand, right, and I'm like moving along line to line. So the hand is down here at the bottom, writing it, and you're watching the. You need potentially somebody who's right-handed to do this. Like left-handed is going to fuck it up. So you need a right-handed calligrapher, and they are starting at the bottom of the line, like where my cursor is, writing along here at the bottom of the line, and then as they're moving along, they're slowly scrolling up right here. No, you don't have like the tits in view the entire fucking time. You could potentially do a green screen thing, like I've got right here, where you show her blah 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 writing. You could do this exact thing here, so it's appealing to like the Twitch streamer type whatever, and then you just show over here, like her hand like writing the lines very slowly. Maybe I'll have like some kind of ambient music in the background, reverb, and blah 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 blah. But she's scrolling and is writing up the page. So you just see her longhand out the entire story in like a very neat calligraphy type thing. The thing is, I can do it myself. It's just it's not going to have anywhere near the same appeal as whatever. To me, that's like a really fucking cool way to have a visualization for an audiobook. No, it's like I don't like I said, like getting somebody to do one of these episodes for like $100 a pop is maybe like a low one there. Calligraphy is expensive, but calligraphy also doesn't make fucking money, right? It doesn't make money, and I know. Oh shit, I know somebody who fits like all these. Oh no, oh no, I know the girl too. Oh no. Oh fuck. Oh, I just got myself in so much trouble. Oh no. Oh, that's a disaster. What have I done to myself? All right. Well, that's funny to me, but it's not funny to y'all. So, moving along, I think honestly, that to me would be like a much cooler rendition, right? Um, with Lemon, maybe you almost want to get like a comic book style writer. Like if you could find somebody who could write in like the comic book font and who did like some of the big. So one of the things that you want to do here is like focus on certain words and make them bigger, make emphasis, underline them. Right? You almost want it to be. You almost want to have the writing itself be like a performance thing, and have that scrolling up there. I like this idea. All right, I can make that fucking happen. That would really like draw me to like get involved in the story and so forth too. I think that solves some of our thing. All right, well, all right. Okay, and so for Gravid, the character actually has a diary that she keeps in Gravid. Or does she have a fucking? No, I think she just keeps notes on her phone. Right? You just write Gravid up as a diary, right? And just have her like your backdrop is like a cutesy room with like a blotter and fucking girly shit all over the place, and you have like the female hand writing longhand and turning the pages of the diary as it's writing the chapter. That's fucking great. That draws my attention like right away. All right, it's crazy. I'm probably overstating like the appeal that this has to other people too, because like the process of writing is fascinating to me. But if you think about like this is going to be on a screen for, let's say that somebody's writing 30, the way that we're describing, we're talking about somebody writing like 30 words a minute. So your standard, fuck, it might just be hours and hours long to do that. Let's take a look at a chapter. Let's say, So here's 227. It's like a very typical chapter. I think it's long. I think it's like about 11 pages. Okay. So our chapter there is 2,600 words, right? Which means that doing math. All right. Why can't I do this math? This should just be so simple in my head. Um, divided by 3. It's going to take 80 minutes for somebody to write this, right? It's going to take 80 minutes, but then reading it. Wait, how long is it going to fucking take to. How do I have to do this with a fucking calculator like an idiot? Yeah. Let's say that was 2,400 words, and you're doing 30 a minute. So, yeah. Okay, so that's right. There's 80 minutes to like write this out at a rate of 30 minutes, 30 words per minute. I believe audiobooks are closer to like 100 words a minute. So, uh, yeah. Okay, the typical human speaks at about 135 words per minute. Standard 1x speed on most audiobook apps. Okay, so it's going to take us like 80 minutes to do our 2,500 words. And then, so we're going to cut it down. So about 4 times as fast is going to be our audiobook speed. So what you're going to have there is that 80 minutes per chapter. And then each chapter is going to take like about 20 words to do there. You don't do first letter of every chapter done. Yeah, you would definitely do it like in like the illuminated manuscript, like where the first word is something there. And the other part of it too, one thing that I've found with the other part of it too is like, is it at the speed that you have to match for like audiobooks? Is it very jarring to the reader to see some of the to see the things going so fast? Because when we take like something like the process of writing it out and we time stretch it or we compress it down, we're discarding frames to get to like take our 80-minute thing and like boil it down to about 20 minutes, right? So one thing, their motion has to be like incredibly smooth, or it will just seem like super jerky as you're doing this whole thing. So you need somebody who is writing in like this exaggeratedly smooth style. Otherwise, their hand is going all over the fucking place, and it just instead of our relaxing thing to do, this 4x speed is like really fucking fast. When we talk about somebody doing something like automatic and whatever. Yeah, we really are. This idea is far afield, and it's very difficult to make it work out there. It's the kind of thing where I should just sit down and like I'll try and longhand out a chapter myself and just see how good it looks with me doing it, and then just see if I want to like put money into the idea or whatever. My handwriting is not good, um, and it's also exhausting too to like sit and write for 80 minutes is tiring. And it's not like you can't, I mean, you can take jump cuts and stuff where you just pull your hand off of the page, go to the bathroom, put your hand back on the page. We could cut it up there. I wonder what 20 words per minute. What the fuck? Oh, that's copying. Oh man, it might be writing might be slower than whatever. Oh, there's a whole community for our handwriting. So 30 words per minute in their like handwriting. University note to yeah. So it seems like 30 words a minute is actually um, so we're probably like more like 2 hours for every chapter right there. Now, if I was getting paid to do something like this, I would want to be making at least $80 to $100 an hour for doing that. So we're looking at more like $200 or $300 for every episode of this that you would put out. Lemon maybe um, has 100 and some odd chapters, right? right. So like you easily could get into spending like $20,000 to fucking do this goofy ass idea, right? So now you can see why nobody has done it there. So when I start looking at like $20,000, like it's time for me to just put on a fucking bra and learn to handwrite and grow my hair long, right? For 20 grand, I'll start taking the fucking estrogen to make that happen. Well, the other part of it too is that like, that old saying, Linux is free if your time is worthless. It's like my time is worthless. I can do like an infinite amount of this. Um, but I would be so tired of doing this shit. Imagine spending 200 hours of doing this. So now I'm more towards all right. I like this idea, but holy shit, that is expensive. You would have to be a much richer author than me to make it happen correctly. Oh, yeah. This is definitely one where um as cool as that idea sounds, like now the like actual logistical considerations are weighing in. Do I really want to spend 200 hours is a month and a half essentially of work to make something like that. Now there are all kinds of video creators where they do that kind of work. Also, like the risk of carpal tunnel would be. Let me see. Can you get that from handwriting? Any repetitive motions, typing, sewing, driving, or writing can cause carpal tunnel syndrome. Oof, oof. All right. Yeah. Like, I don't want to get that carpal tunnel. Um, it's cool though. It'd be cool to like try this just with one chapter as kind of like a proof of concept. I don't think it would be. I think it'd be like about a week to learn that the comic book style of handwriting. Oh, I'm way underestimating that, aren't I? So you have all that, like faced with the enormity of what's going on. Then you think about the difficulty of like coding together an AI to just write this out and highlight the different passages and so forth. You can even use like in Poser 3D AI Japanese woman to do all this shit. So with the AI, you would spend, I think, conservatively like about a month of somebody who knows what the fuck they're doing, putting it together right there, and then you could sell the product. All right, let me talk to Random D. Um, Random D could turn this into like a workable product if he has time. Random D's so fucking busy. By the way, that's the problem with knowing people who are just straight up fucking geniuses. Is that geniuses are always busy, and they're always busy with their own ideas, and their ideas are generally better than yours. So if you come to us like, "Hey, I got this great idea," and then the genius is going to be like, "Great, you should make that," and you're like, "Oh, yeah, I guess I should." You just wither up and die. All right, well, I'm sounding like a frog croaking, but I think I have some homework here. Again, this is me weaseling out of doing my writing, but ultimately, I think the conclusion that I came to there is one an AI woman, G, who had that idea back at the start of this. Well, we had to go through the reasoning of why my idea was unworkable and the logistics involved there. The other part of it, too, is if money is no object, right? The doing it with an actual human being is where you could make something that was close to art. You could make something really fucking beautiful right there that would resonate with people that would bring them comfort in their time of, you know, the thing that we're talking about there when I'm talking about like, hey, your production costs are going to be conservatively like $300 a chapter, right? Just paying people and for like the time and the materials and the sheer human toil. I think $300 an episode is probably like a reasonable budget there, but the potential for that to potentially be like if you really put your time into it and developed it, it could be something that like old people like to look at, right? That is like comfortable to have on the background, like somebody writing out a story and a very um, mellifluous. It's like almost like an art type thing, and it really is elevating the idea that the writing has value because somebody's willing to spend $30,000 turning a book into a series of giant posters. I'd like to see also how long those rolls of paper would be, right? Whether they would be like, because I don't know, just like looking at it. Um, I guess you could just think of it in pages because like the way that you would have to write this for it to look good and to like minimize the amount of time, you would write it much bigger, right? You would have your roll of paper be like almost 3 feet wide, right? And then the getting a roll of lined paper, although honestly, it'd be better if there were no lines. So there's a question. Like, so you want to have the paper be unlined, but you want the person writing to have like the guiding lines that they could potentially see. I wonder if you could do it with. I wonder if you could do it with like a some kind of where the guiding light is the guidelines are projected on the paper in a way that the camera doesn't pick up. You can buy brown paper in huge rolls for wrapping up goods. You would do this on like a nice paper where they slot into a guillotine. Yeah, yeah, that's the kind of roll of paper that we would be using for this, where it's probably like 2 or 3 feet wide, or like 100 centimeters wide, maybe. Um, Wait, are those even close to equivalent? No, 100 centimeters. Wait, all right, 100 centimeters is a fucking meter. It's like 3.3. Why couldn't I do the math? Eventually, I'm gonna not be sick, and I have to have nothing to blame being a retard on. Got my writing done, 1,200 words. I'm happy. Nice. Yeah, the whole time we have been wrestling with a very improbable idea for a live calligraphy thing. Uh, you could have a black and white lined base under the brown paper. You could do that. You could also just have like the guidelines be off to the side, and the person would use like the reference or whatever. I'm gonna talk to some people who are like very into girly cutesy writing and see what they think about this idea and how ruinous it actually is. Because you could just about kill somebody with the amount of effort that this would take. But it does seem really cool, especially for a story where like I feel strongly about it. Yeah, I'll think on it. All right. Well, I got no writing done today. And I'll probably get none done tomorrow, just on a consequence of being sick. But I am going to work a lot in my studio and try to move some cameras around and so forth, and set up where I could try like this new thing. I have the table that I'm at right now is actually perfect for this. This table is like 8 feet long and can be extended. It's 4 feet wide. It's crazy. All right. I love how like I'm just coming up with these increasingly bizarre ideas to get out of doing the fucking work of rewriting. Like, all right. So I think that that's good. I'm gonna do some research today on like those different serialization things. Yeah, it's the table I play games at. And like sometimes I'll do like IRC D&D things. Like once we had like this giant game, only managed 327 words. Well, I wrote 187 words of game plan, but it was really just me talking about whatever. All right. I like also people sharing word counts. That's making me feel very competitive. Now I just want to like throw the shit down and be like, I'll show you how it's done. All right. I gotta leverage that somehow. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh no, you don't want to get into that fucking race with yours truly. No, 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 no. I will bury you. Okay, so yeah, we could turn that into like a fun community thing, and we'll just start at the start of a month. We could have like a NaNoWriMo every goddamn month, where people who are on the stream like report in how much writing they got done. This is all honor system. I don't give a shit. Um, and the same way that I like kept track of all the edits and so forth, we could motivate people to get more done. Because now I am ashamed at my measly 187 words of harebrained thinking here. Whereas really I should have been like editing some chapters and rewriting and so forth. But in a way, like the decision to sit down and like actually fucking rewrite and do my thing, that's more important. The decision to be like, all right, how am I actually going to bring this to bear? What's a useful rubric? And the even if it's completely stupid, like the idea of trying creative new ways to to put stuff out there and to render it in a way where, I mean, largely when we're like writing books, we're reaching out to people who don't care about books for the most part. Like even I went through years and years where I just wasn't reading almost anything at all. I was just writing all the time and playing video games. All right, only 7K words for the weekend. That's pretty decent. 2,500 a day is pretty wild right there. Yeah, eventually, like you fanfic writers will just bury the rest of us because you're not going back over every line like 7 times and editing it and doing whatever. You're just putting pedal to the metal. All right, well, cool. Thank you to everybody who gave like a little info. I am gonna check out the stuff that Pauline Lee sent over there, and like, yeah, man, I'm gonna make this. I'm gonna make this happen. Um, she was transitioning between action scenes and into normal routine. Oh Lord. All right, everybody. Well, thank you for bearing with me here, and hopefully we'll start in on that new edit tomorrow, and I'll have I can report back everything that I learned. Jesus.